Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
How to stop a constitutional convention, protecting election integrity, using congressional and state legislative bodies effectively, restoring sound money, exposing and defeating the push for global control. Those are just some of the things that we'll be discussing at the incredible event coming up in Salt Lake City. You'll hear dynamic presentations from all kinds of speakers. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that you will not want to miss the first 2026 JBS, that's the John Birch Society Conference, Friday and Saturday, June 5th, June 6th, at the beautiful Radisson Hotel in Salt Lake City, Utah, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get tickets, though, to attend. It's going to be an incredible event, a conference. So here's what you do. You go to jbs.org/conference/SLC26. jbs.org/conference/SLC26. I've got Sheriff Mack riding shotgun on the show today. Welcome back, Sheriff Mack. How are you, sir?
Hey, thank you very much, Sam. It's great to be with you this beautiful Tuesday morning.
All right. So we're stacking it up, ladies and gentlemen. It is the round table. It's real. It's live. We've also got Timothy Marden with us. He is Director of Development for the John Birch Society, jbs.org. But Mr. Marden is an interesting gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, to say the least. He previously served as a commissioner in Newberry, Florida for over 12 years. Then he got elected as mayor in 2025. My heir is Tim Marden. I'm so used to saying Martin, but it's really Marden. Hi, Tim. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, great to be here. Look forward to the conference and seeing all the great patriots out there. I'm really excited about it. We just did one in Philadelphia, and Salt Lake City's probably going to be even better.
I love it. Tell me a little bit of history about you. How on earth do you get to be commissioner for 12 years and then get to be mayor and stand for the sacred cause of liberty like we do? That seems like a rare deal, buddy.
Well, just like the sheriff here, you do things right and people reward you with getting reelected. Several times, actually, I was unopposed. So I really feel like that's kind of an additional vote of confidence that you're kind of doing the right thing. And one of the big things that we did in Newberry is really we just stripped out everything other than just the social or just what government's supposed to focus on. So wastewater, sewer, water, utilities, roads, but all the social programs that give us a lot of problems are really something that we did away with, and makes for a lot less conflict in the community, makes our meetings go a lot quicker because we're not having to deal with all that stuff. And I think really people have gravitated towards that. We're a booming community right now. We're growing at 5 to 7%. We're one of the fastest growing communities in the North Central Florida area. So I'm real proud of that. We're sort of a little bit of a victim of our own creation. But hey, I always say growing pains are better than shrinking pains.
Newberry, Florida, ladies and gentlemen. Where is it at? It sounds like Mayberry, sir.
Very, very similar. We're about 2 hours north of Tampa, right off I-75 in the county of Alachua. Most people know it for the University of Florida Gators.
Sheriff?
Now, what city?
Newberry, Newberry.
And the county again?
Alachua.
Alachua, never heard of it.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's about 2 hours due north of Tampa, right off I-75.
Where is it in relation to Jacksonville then?
So it's about an hour and a half to the airport for me. Jacksonville is northeast of me.
Northeast of you. Okay, that's
so
fantastic.
how far are you from the West Side Beach?
Well, we're actually closer to the West Coast, but it's all swampy kind of as you enter into that Big Bend area. So if we want to go to the beach, we usually go over east and connect basically in St. Augustine, Crescent Beach area, a little bit south of Jacksonville, a little bit north of Daytona Beach, kind of in that midway.
And how about your
St.
sheriff there?
Augustine? St. Augustine is one of the best places to go if you go with your spouse and everything else. It's just a delightful old town. I've been there, took my wife there. It was fantastic. Yeah, how's the sheriff in your county, sir?
Well, he's in his first term already, so I guess the jury is still out. But no, so far, no real infringement. He actually is a Newberry native, so we got that going for us as well. But we'll see. No real constitutional issues that I have with our sheriff right now. So
Well, Timothy,
all
one of the things
positive.
we're hoping you can do for us is create an appropriate meeting where we could discuss with the sheriff the opportunity that we have as the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association to go ahead and possibly do some training with him and his people. We can hold a public rally there in promotion of the proper role of limited government. I'm telling you right now, Newberry becomes Mayberry, ladies and gentlemen. So it's Timothy Marden, so everybody understands, ladies and gentlemen. He is the Director of Development for the John Birch Society. Tell me what that looks like, Timothy. As the director, how does it?
I'm having a little bit of hearing. I'm not able to hear you at the moment.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Sheriff.
Okay, so how does your community go along with such a conservative mayor, and how did that happen? Is this a little pocket of ultra conservatism in Newberry?
We are a little bit. It's sort of become our brand. Several years ago, I kind of ran on a JBS platform, if you will, when I became city commissioner. There were a couple other people who thought a lot like me, a couple other members who got on the city council as well. And although the initial, ripping off the Band-Aid, so to speak, was a little bit of friction. Once we got through that part and everybody kind of got on the other side, we really kind of saw through a lot of the, like I said earlier, the friction that's caused by kind of trying to central plan all the social programs, et cetera, like that. So, we have really kind of built our city on the spirit of volunteerism. So I know it does work. We're a test case to prove it. And the fact that we have a 5 to 7% growth rate right now also is a vote of confidence that we're doing the right thing as well. People want to be here. People want to raise their families here. People want to volunteer here. And the poll, not necessarily the polls, but the voting history does really show that. All of the incumbents were just reelected last month. So again, we're kind of on this trajectory that people really appreciate, and I love it. I really enjoy it every day. The Birch Society is my main job, but the mayor is my part-time job. And if it wasn't for the fact that we just focus on what government's supposed to be doing, it probably would be a full-time job for me, Sheriff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let's see if Sam. Let's see if he can hear.
All right. There's about 10,000 people in Newberry. Is that right?
I'm not able to hear him, Sheriff.
He asked how many. What's the population of Newberry?
Oh, we're right about 9,500 people right now.
Okay.
So I've been here for right at 20 years. When I got here, it was about 5,500. So even over the span of 2 decades, we've just now getting to basically double the population.
And how about the county? And what'd you call the county again?
Alachua,
Alachua.
Chua. And there's not to be confused with the city that's also called Alachua. They've really kind of pronounced it Alachua. But in the county of Alachua, there is about 290,000 people or so.
Oh, big county then. Yeah.
Yep.
And what's the main city?
If you look on the map, from a political line standpoint, we're kind of that blue county right in the middle of North Central Florida.
Wow.
But Newberry's become a little bit of an outpost, I guess you could say, of conservative and just really traditional Americana. Really here, one of the things we just did, for instance, during our spring festival, was we did a reenactment of the Battle of Lexington and Concord. We're hoping to have a 100-element parade that's televised or live streamed on July 4th, celebrating America's 250th. I don't know if you can see my lapel pin in the shot, but we redid the city seal to express that 250th sentiment. And even during Constitution Week, that's September 17th. During that week, we're going to actually redecorate our municipal building. which is really just kind of one of our gathering places. We're going to redecorate that like Independence Hall, the pale green tablecloths, the 13 tables, and we're going to have some programming as well so that our local elementary school can take a field trip and listen to some folks about what really happened in the room, why it happened, and why we should really be trying to preserve that as much as possible here in our country and in our city of Newberry.
Okay, that's it, Tim. That's it.
You moving?
I'm moving to Florida. I'm moving to Newberry. Yeah. My goodness.
I told you it's now Mayberry, ladies and gentlemen. Can you rename your town?
Yeah, I still can't hear him for some reason, but if you can relay for me, that'd be great.
Let's do it.
Okay, so he's still pushing the Mayberry thing.
Okay.
and yes, I want to come there really bad. Sam, back to you to go to the commercial.
All right, everybody, hang tight. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the one and only Liberty Roundtable Live. Tim Marden with us. He's the Director of Development for the John Birch Society, JBS.org. He lives in Mayberry. Hang tight.
How do you know your child loves you?
When he calls and he says, Dad, why don't we go fishing? Just very simple, but it really counts.
They make a song up and they come into our bedroom and say, we made a song and will you listen to it?
Our next oldest daughter came to me with tears in her eyes and she said, Daddy, I just thank you for coming home every night when we were growing
My
up.
son does the nicest things. When he's playing outside, he'll come in and just give me a hug and run right back outside.
My daughter goes to the same high school that I'm the registrar at, and I'll go into my office after the bell has rung, and there's a note on my desk. And it'll usually say, Mom, I love you. I'm thinking about you.
And I think of my boy that we finally got him through graduation. And he came up to me and said, I made it. Thanks.
Family. Isn't it about time?
That's all he said. And that meant everything to me.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Are you watching what's happening in our country and asking, what can I do? Join the John Birch Society in Salt Lake City, June 6th, for a powerful one-day conference. The day includes a host of respected speakers, 2 meals, and meaningful connections. You'll gain clarity on the issues and walk away with practical steps you can take to your community. Reserve your seat today at jbs.org/SLC26. That's jbs.org/SLC26.
Sheriff Mack, standing tall, still answering freedom's call, a badge of promise, a constitutional track history. Won't forget Sheriff Mack.
No, they won't, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because he's on Liberty Roundtable Live with me. I'm just teasing. I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. It's because it's a beautiful day in Florida and Mayberry. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it. We got Timothy Marden with us, ladies and gentlemen. He previously served 12 years as a city commissioner. Yeah, it's incredible, folks. Down there in Newberry, Florida, and now he's been elected the mayor in 2025. They really got rid of all the stuff they don't need to. They've doubled down on the proper role of limited constitutional government. You got to dig it. And now he's going to be speaking in Salt Lake City, everybody. It's the first 2026 John Birch Society Conference taking place Friday, Saturday, June 5th and 6th. In Salt Lake City at the beautiful Radisson Hotel. If you want to get your tickets to ride, ladies and gentlemen, go to jbs.org/conference/SLC26 to get your tickets. Mr. Marden, what are you going to be speaking about at the conference?
Yeah, Tim, we want to know what you're going to be speaking about at the conference.
I'm actually going to be part of a panel that really is titled Why Fight City Hall When You Can Actually Be City Hall? So there's a few of us elected representatives who are really just going to try to, I guess, kind of be a little bit of an on-ramp for people who maybe are thinking about it or maybe just encouraging people to actually get involved and become an elected official because we're not going to win this battle at the keyboard or the couch, right? So we really need to get involved even more. And I think we want to kind of peel back the layers a little bit for people who maybe have been otherwise resistant to run because they think it's one thing when it's actually something else. You know, I've run most of my races for just a couple of $1,000s. Obviously, as you go up in scale, you kind of multiply that times 100. but I think it's important for people to understand kind of the real skinny running for office, and we're going to try to give them a little bit of training wheels so they can maybe do it themselves.
Well,
I
hey,
love it. Let me ask this question, Sheriff Mack, real quick. What about the county? Are they supportive of your city efforts?
Oh, the county, are they supportive of your efforts?
Not so much. From a political standpoint, we actually had a joint meeting with them last night, and they were actually very sort of congratulatory of the things that we have going on here. So it's sort of a little bit of back and forth. Maybe early on, it was really we just had to prove ourselves. We like to think that we're kind of rubbing off on them a little bit.
Oh,
It's
cool.
the love-hate, Sheriff.
Yeah, Sheriff, you know a good friend of mine, Alex Newman.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Sam and I and Alex are very good friends.
Yeah, he lives about 2 hours from me now.
Well, he'll probably. Well,
is he going to be at the conference?
Yes, he's going to be one of our speakers. We have Phil Lyman that's speaking. We have Teresa Manzella, a senator from Montana. Dan Happel, they're on the panel with me, as well as Ty Bodden. He actually works for us in our home office in Appleton, Wisconsin. He was a state representative there. So all of those folks are going to be on the panel with me. But yes, we have Patrick Wood is also speaking. So we have a lot of great speakers. And I heard Sam on the opening sort of pitching the website. People can go check out all the speakers there and make sure they get tickets.
Well, gee, the only one you're missing is Sheriff Mack.
I know. I don't know how we've missed that so far.
Yes, I used to be at those quite often, but it's been a few years. But if I counted how many times I've been in your magazine,
yes,
the New American,
yes, sir.
I'd probably, if I got $1 for each time, I'd probably be able to retire. But anyway, I have had a good relationship with JPS my whole life and my whole career. And I really wish I could make it to the event, because that sounds fantastic. JBS has led the way in so many different categories. But what I want to ask you before we end, I've got to know this. What is the number one danger, the worst thing happening to America right now? What is the number one problem we've got to solve, or we're basically doomed as a country? What's the one thing?
I think it's really kind of, I guess red-blooded, blue-blooded, red, white, and blue-blooded Americans really kind of need to understand this cancer that's kind of been growing underneath the surface within a lot of our governmental circles, so to speak. And what I've kind of come to realize is these folks, they're very globalist oriented, right? And we've talked about that a lot in the Birch Society, these globalists, the deep state, the insiders. They go by several different names, but what I really kind of see it is a layered approach to basically, kind of bringing us up under the globalist umbrella, which is really just all about control. We've seen it happen in Europe with the EU. That's just sort of a stepping stone to it. But it's happening here in America, and it's really important that we really recognize that and get shoulder to shoulder with folks that are in groups like the John Birch Society so that we can actually do something about it. Because, under this, what I kind of couch as the controllers and the controlled, you have that disparity. What's missing there, Sheriff? Everything in the middle. So there's no middle class. And we sort of see elements of that going back to COVID just a couple of years that were real time examples where you had big box stores, these multinational companies that were privileged enough to stay open, but the mom and pops, those kind of organizations were kept closed, so you weren't allowed to open. And I think that's where you're seeing sort of that transition present itself in gutting of the middle class. If you look at all the attacks on America, whether it's financial, education, our constitutional rights, they're all attacking the underpinnings of what really made up the American middle class because they have to get rid of that in order to bring in and institute this sort of globalist mindset where you have these controllers and the controlled, and we don't want to be the controlled.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you. And I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yes.
For the first 16, 17 months, give President Trump a grade. as if you're his school teacher?
Constitutionally, up until about 3 or 4 months ago, I thought he was doing pretty good. This misstep with Iran, going in and taking Maduro in Venezuela, is a really big flag for me. I really kind of sense a little bit of a turn. I want to support him, but it's been a little bit difficult, particularly in those two areas. We can also look at the printing of money. That's been a real issue. Obviously, that printing of money creates inflation by degrading the value of the dollar, and those things sort of present in what you're seeing. A lot of people want to point to, the stock market's doing great; it's over 50,000, but in reality, that stock is really just a price like milk or gas. It's going to go up with inflation as well. And I was in a meeting the other day with our representative, and there was a very big push in the room for a real focus on economic policy here going into the midterms. And that needs to happen real quick. And he can set the pace on that and sort of recover from what I kind of see as a couple big missteps here recently.
And what party are you? Are you Republican?
Yes, sir. Ironically, I'm actually the county chairman for the Republican Party here in Alachua County. So I've gotten a little bit of grief over my criticism of President Trump, but really what I want to show is iron sharpens iron, and we need to be able to self-critique ourselves. We don't just need to be the group that just does whatever the president wants. That's not a constitutional republic, internally or externally.
Ladies and gentlemen, you certainly don't want to miss the 2026 Salt Lake City John Birch Society event. It's a conference, June 6th, or 5th and 6th. That's Friday and Saturday. It's at the Radisson Hotel. And if you want to get your tickets to ride, go to jbs.org/conference/SLC26. Members and friends from across the country will be gathering for a powerful day of education, strategy, and inspiration. Timothy Marden will be one of the speakers there, ladies and gentlemen. Look, he lives in Mayberry. Okay, it's not Mayberry. I know, it's Newberry, Florida, but I'm just telling you right now, a city of about 10,000 people that have jettisoned all the extra stuff, and they're tripling down on the proper role of constitutional government. Sheriff, I don't even know what to say except for we need more of that, sir.
I've got to ask one other thing really quick. Do you have your own, does Newberry have their own police department?
We actually do not. We actually contract directly with the sheriff's office for additional services. So we pay a little over $1 million a year extra to have sort of this dedicated officer and deputy here in Newberry 24/7. It kind of comes with a few other requirements. But our own police department, we've estimated it would be about $3 to $4 million on an recurring basis. So right now it's a little bit financial, but it's also sort of, again, a lot of people in Newberry have guns, so we're safe from an individual perspective. So we just really haven't had the need necessarily to go to our own police department quite yet.
Sheriff, that is the proper role, sir. That's the way it ought to be.
That's the way it should be.
If we need more support for the sheriff's department, by all means, bring it on. But we don't need to have competing police forces or law enforcement, Sheriff.
Yeah, I thought it was great. If you did, I'd volunteer to move there and be the chief of police. But that's even better that you're going with the sheriff, and that happens quite often across the country for smaller towns inside counties. So I was hoping that was going to be your answer, actually. So great job, Tim. Thank you so much. Anything you want to say before we have to cut out?
Well, I think, people can not only get tickets at jbs.org, but they can also join our organization. It's about $100 a year, and you can get aligned with people who hopefully think a lot with you and are actually doing something about it. Because, like I said, we're not going to win this at the keyboard or the couch.
Amen to that, ladies and gentlemen. The New American Magazine is one of the best news sources you can get. You can get it online at thenewamerican.com. You can also get it in your mailbox. I'm telling you, they're doing some real good work, and they've been doing it longer than I've been alive. You got to give them a big old shout out. Timothy Marden, thank you so much, sir, for your incredible work, and we'll look forward to your speech in Salt Lake City at the Radisson Hotel, June 5th and 6th. Go to jbs.org/conference/SLC26 to get your tickets. For Sheriff Richard Mack, CSPOA.org, I'm Sam Bushman. God save the Republic of the United States of America.